I start rich. I start rich. Fuck don't kiss. Fuck she fuck don't kiss. Look like friends, but she say they twins. Jump right in. It's legroom.
Hi guys, this is Mary from Mark Kills, and today I wanted to share my favorite albums of Q1 of 2023. Usually music critics on YouTube tend to share their favorite albums of the year so far in June, July, when it's the middle of the year, but I figured it would be useful to sort of touch base with those that have been my favorite releases of the year so far. There have definitely been way more announcements than I was expecting, because last year was filled with such amazing music that I couldn't think of any more artists that could announce new music this year. But lo and behold, we've actually had many artists releasing new music, new music, and I couldn't be happier about that. Just a disclaimer before we continue. Unfortunately, I did not listen to all the albums that I wanted to listen to that were released during Q1. So as I catch up on them, I will include them in my favorite albums of Q2 when I make the video, and of course my favorite albums of 2023 so far when we reach the middle of the year. So just a disclaimer that if you don't see one of your favorite albums on this list, it might make a comeback later on in the year because I just didn't have the time to listen to it. Let's start off with an artist that I didn't know before listening to her album, and I'm talking about Julia Wolf. Her album's called Good Thing We Stayed, and honestly, when I looked at the cover art, I was not really sure what to make of it. It kind of looked like, it looked a bit cringe, and it looked like, I don't know, kind of like a TikTok album. Like, it looked like, sort of like Rebecca Black or Gayle, or I don't know what people on TikTok listen to these days, but it didn't seem like something that would appeal to me. But when I actually listened to it, it was so catchy. I really loved, I liked Julia's voice, first of all, and some of the beats in there are amazing. Yes, it is definitely a kind of like an adolescent, sort of targeted to maybe teenagers as opposed to adults. Also, the lyrics are very sort of moody, and they kind of represent like teenage angst. But I really liked, again, the way it was presented. Some of my favorite songs are Now, Get Off My, D-Word, also Hinge Boy, which is, in my opinion, is one of the most adolescent songs out of the whole album, Hot Killer and Sorority Girls. So it's supposed to appeal to that demographic, but I don't know, I just found it extremely addicting, and yeah, I just loved. I decided to put it on my favorites. Next, we have Ray's 21st Century Blues, which I believe so far it has been definitely my favorite. It's either my first or second favorite. I also made a review of Ray's my 21st Century Blues. I'm gonna see her live opening for Kali Uchis in May, and I just loved her album. To think that she's only 25 is unbelievable. The way she writes, the way she sings, like, she sounds like she's been in this business for 50 plus years, and I'm not even joking. So I love how she's tackling all things 21st century, even the most political ones like climate change and her body image, and of course stories of love, and also unfortunately harassment that she's received in the past. I do not know her personal stories. I believe maybe she was like hooked on drugs at a certain point in her life, but she makes a lot of references to drugs and drug abuse and also alcohol. So I believe that maybe that has to do with like her personal story. Some of my favorite songs on this album are Hard Out Here, definitely one of my favorite, also containing one of my favorite lines of the year, I can't see you, I'm looking at the inside of my eyelids. Also Black Mascara, of course, Escapism, and 5-Star Hotels with Mahalia. If you want to check out my review, I will put it in the description below. Next we have an album by a Brazilian artist called Kali Uchis. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, I hope I am. And the album is Reversa. I didn't know who Kali Uchis was, but I fell in love with her very like poppy sound and very pop vocals. Like, this is a pop album, but I don't know, it's just something in her delivery and the melodies and the way it's presented that, I don't know, it's really cool. And also I think I love to hear a Brazilian artist that's not, you know, doing funk, because I did listen to some Brazilian singers, but they were all like those were all like funk songs, which is basically like reggaeton for Portuguese speakers. It's kind of all the same, like it has the same beat and everything, so it's really not that exciting after a while. So I was really happy to hear more like a pop, electronic pop album from Kali Uchis. Definitely my favorite song of the album is Garota Infernal, which I think means damn girl, something like that, like bloody girl. The album also has a sexual charge to it, with songs like Playlist de Sexo. The album is around 30 minutes long, so it's very short and sweet, and I would really recommend you check it out. Next we have another album that is not in English, and it's by German artist Nina Chuba, who was picked among the artists to watch by Vevo, which is really cool. Some of the songs she became known for are Wildberry Lit, and also I believe Feminello, because I think she makes a reference that her mom is Italian, that's why the song is called Feminello. She's essentially the German Billie Eilish. I really like her a lot. I love how versatile she is. Like, you can find bangers, ballads, something in between on this album. It's a fairly long album. It's 50 minutes long, but it really goes by like super quickly. There are many songs that I like, but I really like the opening, Mangoes mit Chili. I really like Moonlichts, Neben mir, Fieber, also Sakura. So she's very young, I believe, but she has a swag like nobody else. And again, I love I love her flow, I love the energy that she puts into things, and I love the energy that she puts into her song, so I definitely believe that she deserves a spot on my list. Next we have a Mexican artist, and her name is Rene, with the album Enemy de QH, which I don't really know what it stands for. Just like Karol Biazin's album, this one's also very short, it's barely 30 minutes, and it's a mix of, like, it's definitely pop, but it's a less electronic kind of pop, it's more like acoustic kind of pop, more like a, let's say, indie pop, sometimes even, I don't want to say folk pop, but it's definitely more simple, and you know, she employs acoustic guitars and like more like traditional bands as opposed to electronic beats. I love how Rene uses Mexican slang. For those who know me, I love Mexican Spanish. I do speak Spanish, and Mexican Spanish is one of my favorite varieties of Spanish out there. So I really love how she uses like her normal, like, everyday speech in this album. Some of my favorite songs are Tibio, I really like El Club, and also like Nunca Tristes, Me Vale Madre, which is an expression especially popular in northern Mexico, and also Algo Bien. So if you want a more like a chill but also very fun album that's not super electronic and doesn't have like aggressive beats, I'll recommend this one. Next we have a very sort of like dreamy, evanescent sort of album, sort of like a, I wouldn't know how to explain it, but it's a very soft kind of album. It's called Love You Forever by Verité, who is, I guess she's American, but her name is, her stage name is in French. The whole album is pervaded by vocals which are very evanescent and just overlaid over each other. There are some sections that are very strong, and I don't know, there's just the way she builds her climax is unreal. There definitely are some parts that are a bit more aggressive in nature, and again they're building up to a climax, and I really like this contrast between her very sweet voice and these more aggressive instrumentals at times. It feels like the album is set inside of a dream, and we're sort of like following the story, and we're getting lost in the melodies and the beats and everything, and it's very beautiful, and I would definitely recommend it. Next we have another album by a German artist, which I'm really sorry for butchering it. It's titled Endlich tut es wieder me. So just like Nina Chuba's album, this album contains a bit of everything, both bangers and more ballads, more chill tracks, and this is mostly an electronic sort of album. I don't have much to say about this. I just feel that the songs flow really well, and they are a lot of fun. The way Elif sings is really cool. I really like the melodies, I really like the tracks. I saved almost all of the songs. I saved Roses, I saved Mein Babe, I saved Himmel, Lonely, Wie so ich. So I will definitely recommend to check it out. if you enjoy Nina Chuba, you'll definitely enjoy this one as well. Next we have Don't Get Too Close by Skrillex. This year Skrillex released 2 albums, either one after the other or at the same time. I guess the other one is called The Quest for Greatness or something like that. I didn't like that one. I actually preferred Don't Get Too Close. I think this one is much more kind of like pop and fun and short, like, you know, bite-sized songs. I really like the opening track, Don't Leave Me Like This, which is a remix of the single that he released that I also really like, that's basically called Leave Me Like This. And this is more of he makes an introduction out of that song. And since I like the song, of course, I also like this introduction. So from the very first track, I really enjoyed this album. As we go through the songs, I really enjoyed how he collaborated with other artists, especially artists that I had never heard of. How he kind of like manipulates their voices, how he includes their vocals and their styles within his own style. Overall, I think this is an album full of bangers and a very fun album overall, so I definitely recommend to check it out. Next we have Lovesick by Don Toliver. I never listened to anything by Don Toliver besides one of his latest featurings with Kali Uchis, which I will talk about her very soon. The introduction is pretty cool, Love Sickness, but I was really hooked from the second song, Let Her Go, featuring James Blake. James Blake's vocals just make everything better. Like, he can make gold out of everything he touches, basically, or that he touches with his voice. And from that song on, I really hope, oh my god, please let the whole album be this good. And it actually was. It's a very fun album, very fun beats, really good collaborations. For instance, Leave the Club features Lil Durk and Glorilla, and they blend really well with the track and Don Toliver's style as well. We also have Go Down featuring Tisa Korean that I also enjoyed. There's Letter Codes. Then we have a song featuring Future and Justin Bieber, Private Landing. We also have the featuring with Nigerian artist Wizkid in Slow Motion. Overall, as I said, it's a very fun album. More on the low-key side of things. So yeah, it does have really good beats, but it's more low-key overall. I would even describe him as the male Kali Uchis, which is it's really justifies as their collaboration. I mean, their voices really blend well with each other. And she's also featured on this project in the song For Me. Next, and no worries, we're almost getting to the end. We have Forward by Jordan Ward. Again, very short album. We love short and sweet albums. This project features some Afrobeats with very lo-fi, low-key instrumentals. Jordan's voice is amazing, so chill. He has a beautiful timbre. He has a beautiful, the color of his voice is so beautiful. And the songs just flow, like they flow really well, and it just feels like a long river that's basically flowing through you. So I'll definitely recommend checking it out. And now we are getting to Kali Uchis' Red Moon in Venus, which she first teased with her song I Wish You Roses, and then with her second single Moonlight. I have to say, these are definitely two of the strongest tracks of the album. The album itself is really good, but she really chose the singles wisely, because the other songs are not as like powerful and catchy, but it's still pretty good, and there definitely is a vision behind everything. It starts with the song In My Garden, so like she kind of like introduces us to her world. She features other artists like Omar Apollo, and of course, as I said, Don Toliver and Summer Walker. She also blends English with Spanish, as she usually does. I wish that she did a little bit more, but I will review the album more in detail in a little bit, so I will talk about these things a little more in detail there. In general, I really like this album. I always love hearing Kali Uchis' voice, and I love how she's going through all the different phases of love here. Last but not least, we have Portals by Melanie Martinez, which I was anticipating like holy hell, especially after social media posts and all the hype that was built on there, how like the aesthetic work that she did. The album starts with the first single, Death, which was already pretty promising. Then a few days before releasing the album, she released Void, which was also very promising. Then I listened to Tunnel Vision, that I loved, and then the rest of the album was a bit, because it's a pretty long album, like I guess it's like 15 minutes, so I definitely the opening is very strong. I will review the album soon, just like I said I will do with half of the tracks with half of the albums on my list. I really like how she's presenting some more like rock, pop rock, indie rock tracks here, while her previous albums have mostly been, you know, pop, indie pop, electropop. So I really like to hear something different here. The lyrics, as always, are incredible. Like, she makes it could be a poetry collection. Like, the way she writes, the way she references her readings about the occult and the esoteric, like, they are amazing. Like, she is a storyteller. She's telling us a story, and I think her vocals and the way the instrumentals, the arrangements, like, they all build up to like support the lyrics. And there's honestly no song like the other. Like, it's definitely her signature style, but there's no song like the other. Each song has its own like signature, its own unique flair. So this is the album that I'm saying I'm not like, because I'm kind of like battling it in my head whether it's Portals or My 21st Century Blues. That's like number one and the other is number two. So we'll see later in the year. I'd have to listen to Portals a bit more times, and again, I do want to review it, so stick around for that. So this was my list. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Please do share your favorite album of the year so far in the comments down below. More reviews to follow, more brief reviews, and like full on in detail and in-depth album reviews that I want to share soon. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye.
I start rich. I start rich. Fuck don't kiss. Fuck she fuck don't kiss. Look like friends, but she say they twins. Jump right in. It's legroom in this.